We're coming from a sunny Edinburgh. Robert's just started the recording, so this will be available as an archive, but everyone's names will be anonymised, so your secrets are safe with us. Yes. So so thanks everyone for joining today. We'll be starting in just about a minute or two, and Shirley will be looking at Clicker. Hello, Shirley.
Hello, Craig. Hello, everyone.
And who actually is completely new to Clicker? Who hasn't used it before? That's here today. Maybe hands up or just type into the box if you haven't used Clicker before. There's a little icon at the top where you can click to raise your hand if you haven't used icon. Never used Clicker, no problem, that's okay. Okay, Robson, okay, great. So this will be a treat actually, because Clicker is one of those programs that's been around for a long time. Not as long as me, but it's been around for a long time. And it really has improved over the years. And it's just such an engaging and really intuitive program, I think. So I think Shirley's going to take us through all the various aspects of it. So if you haven't used it before, you'll certainly learn some ways on how you can use it. And hopefully, if you have used it before, Shirley can show you some new things. And if there's something that maybe we've missed out, please feel free to share it towards the end. If you have any suggestions or things you'd like to add, please do that. And just to mention that these links here, these are clickable links, okay? So you can just click onto each one, and as you do that, you can see there's an option to browse to, and that will take you off to the various websites. So I'll hand over to Shirley now. Shirley's just going to share her screen, so this screen will disappear and you should see Shirley's desktop, and then we'll make a start. Okay, Shirley, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Craig. I'll just continue to share my desktop here. And that's us up and running. So hello, everyone. That's good that we've got a few people completely new to Clicker, and some others who have obviously been using it before. What sets Clicker apart from other word processors is the extensive support it offers to emergent, developing and struggling writers and readers. We recommend it all the time for the pupils that we work with additional support needs, and provide training to teachers on how to use the software or the apps, because of course there are Clicker apps for the iPad and for the Chromebooks. But like everything else, unless you're actually using it regularly, it's easy to forget how to make the most of all the different assistive features. And sometimes this lack of confidence from teachers means that the software is not being offered to pupils who are then continuing to struggle to write anything down using a pencil and paper or word processing. I'm sure that scenario is familiar to you. Just never enough time in the day to keep up with everything. Even if you've been in training, it's just time to practice it. So today's session is simply offering a reminder for you for some of the really good features of the software. And once you've learnt them, you can then show your learners to help them become more confident and more independent writers. So for anyone completely new to it, you can see on the screen here, I'll just show you about the principles of how it works. So the bottom half of the screen here, I've got a Clicker set, and the top half of the screen is the Clicker document. So what I can do is I can just click in a cell down at the bottom here, and the words will go up into the document.
We are learning more about Clicker software.
Okay, and every time we put the full stop in, it will read it back to you. So you've got that excellent text-to-speech support there. But what if I can't actually read the words that are in the cells down here? Well, you simply have to right-click on them and the text will be spoken out to you.
We are learning Clicker, more about software.
Okay, so really useful there to have that read out to you before you can choose the words that go in to make your sentence there. And you can see some cells have got single words, some have got 2 or 3. You can choose in the set when you're creating it how you want it to appear. And I'll show you later on about how you can actually group words together so you've got more than one word in a cell. I've got different options there. If I go down to the bottom left of the screen, I've got Edit Clicker Set there. So if I click on there, you're going to go behind the screens and you can see how it's been set up. So you can actually see in this top sentence bar, you see I have actually grouped "we are learning" in square brackets. So because it's in square brackets, it's then going to appear in the one cell. So you've got different options there. I'm not modelling the sentence there, but I could do. So if I decided I was going to model it on the grid, you can see just even down in the bottom there, that's how it would appear when we go back to run the activity. So some of your learners might need that support. They couldn't make that sentence without having it modelled there and remaining there on the screen there. So lots of different options there, and later on we'll go on to go back to the very, very early learning stages where you might want that sentence in guided order. Okay, so let's just go back to running the activity. Top left will take me back to there. So now you can see I've got the sentence here modelled on the screen. So let's think of a learner in your class who finds it difficult to get started with a writing task. You may go over the activity orally with the whole class and write some keywords up on the board, but that learner has reading difficulties and can't read them. A printed word bank would have the same effect, so basically none. That learner in your class would come into the category of being print disabled, so needs support in a digital format. But you knew that was the case, so you decided to create a mind map using a clicker board, which is another thing that you can do within the Clicker software. So you're going to use this with the whole class as an introduction to the topic. So I've got one pre-prepared, and so the topic today is food in our diet. So down in the bottom left, I'm going to click onto this pre-created, what's called a clicker board. So for all intents and purposes, it's a mind map. But I have been able to do this as a whole class activity on the interactive whiteboard, and everyone can put suggestions in. And you're simply just adding in different cells here. So I'm clicking on the left here. I'm going to add in, let's say we're going to add in, I'm going to add in another word here, but I'm going to be adding in, say, potatoes, but you're always demonstrating that, okay, you might have difficulty spelling, so you can actually have the support of a couple of the options up here. Now, this one up here that they've got is your predictor, so I can just start typing out the word. And again, like everything else, I can right-click to listen to it.
Potatoes. Potato.
And then just click on it, so I'm not having to finish spelling the word. I may actually decide when I'm doing that word there, well, let's see if we can get, we might want some picture support. So I'm just going to tap on there. And so now I've got another vegetable that I can add up there. Let's do another one for the fruit category. So again, you're doing this with your whole class. I'm demonstrating up here, and let's put the predictor on again. So again, you're demonstrating. So whether you need it or not, it's always good to model it so that when somebody is coming to use it, oops, I thought we might have a pineapple in the predictor there, but it doesn't seem to be picking it up. Let's see if we can get a picture to come up. Yep, so stick that in there again. So not only have I made this mind map with all the different words there, and if you can see down here, I've got some different cells that I've just added in, and I've put a different coloured background. You've got all these options down the left on how you do that there. But what I can do now really simply is I can now just right click on a blank bit of the screen here. And you see I've got two options there. I can create a picture bank or create a word bank. So I'm going to do this, create a word bank, because this was the mind map, was the initial activity, and we're going on to do a writing activity about food in our diet. So I'm going to create a word bank. So what you can see here we've got is now all the words that were in the mind map, and I can just toggle back to that. That's our mind map. And now I've created, with a simply right clicking on the screen, I've now got all the words that we had in the mind map in a digital format to have this very supportive word bank there. Now I also, if I'm clicking back to the mind map, I did have a second tab here under health. So that was going to be for starting creating another activity, another sort of mind mapping activity. So you can see I've got the two tabs there, and when I go to the word bank, I've got my second tab there. So the words that are in the second page would appear on page 2 of the word bank there. So again, like everything else, and I'll just do the reminders that I'm going to right click to listen to.
I can grow. I don't like pineapple.
Okay, so listening to the words very clearly. can help me choose what I'm going to say there. If I want to put something into my document part, I can just left click and then put my full stop
I
in.
don't like yogurt.
Okay, and that's going to be really helpful for somebody who's struggling to write and struggling to read the words, but all of a sudden, quite simply, they can be creating their own sentence about food, and they can be toggling back here to look at them to the mind map, just to have the discussion on what were they actually talking about, and back to the word bank here with the document part. The document part's the bit that they're going to be able to type into. So lots of other features that if you're just looking at the top toolbar here. So I can actually move the mind map, the word bank out the way by just clicking on this little arrow to the right. So you've basically got a Word document here, but lots of really good features up at the top here. So I could decide that I'm going to use the word prediction here, which is the thing that we used when we were creating the cells in the mind map. So it's this 1, 2, 3 here. I'm going to switch that on here, and I'm going to start typing in, and you can see straight away it's picking up the words I want to say just by doing the first couple of letters. So I can click on them. I'm going to say they are healthy, but I'm not very good at spelling, so I've spelt it wrong, but you can see how intuitive the word prediction is there. It's actually picked up the words. They've actually a slightly grey colour there. I'm not sure if you can pick that up on the screen, but it just shows you that, you know, they think that's the word that you want, but it's not the correct spelling. So like anything else, I'm going to listen to it.
Health. Healthy.
Okay, clicking on it, that's the one I want. And let's go for tasty. Okay, so again, I'm not very good at spelling. That's why the Clicker 7 software is so supportive, but it's taking that into account, and now I've got my words.
Taste. Tasted. Tastes. Tasty.
That's me right-clicking to listen and left-click.
They are healthy and tasty.
Okay, so you're getting all this support in there, and then just reinforcement at the end by putting the full stop in that that's actually the sentence that you want to write. So I'm going to click off the word prediction, and that's going to take that out the way there. But you've also got spell checking as well. So if I didn't have on the word prediction and just I was typing, and as I was spelling it wrong there.
They are healthy and tasty.
Okay, if you hear it back, sounds okay, but you are seeing the red squiggly line underneath, so you would know there was a spelling mistake. I'm going to click on the ABC with the tick, and I've now got nice clear options here coming up in the boxes. Lots of words there, still have difficulty reading, right click.
Health. Healthy.
That's it, so I'll just click to change that, and
stay. Taste. Tasty.
That's the one. Click in
They
there.
are healthy and tasty.
So with either with Spellcheck or word prediction, you've got support there in terms of getting the right words down there spelt correctly. So lots of opportunities for a pupil to have a real good element of success in the work they're doing there. You could also allow them to take away the difficulty they have with writing. You've got your microphone here. So if you had I've got a microphone currently plugged in, a USB mic. So I would be able to use some audio here to make a little recording, to record a voice note, which would be saved as part of the document. So I'll show you what that looks like there. Just click on that, click on record. My grandpa has a big garden and grows lots of vegetables. So this little red speech bubble that appears in the top left now, if I was to click on it. My grandpa has a big garden and grows lots of vegetables. So when you're saving the document, you would be saving that bit of audio in there. So it is it's a really good feature, because if somebody has literacy difficulties, but they actually have perhaps an answer to something, or they've got other things that they want to contribute to their story, it should be okay whatever they want to produce that text. And in this way, they've done some writing, but they may want to add in some audio as well. So that's the basis of how Clicker works. And that was just a reminder, this was our mind map, which is called a Clicker board. I right-clicked on the screen to get the word bank, and then I started doing some writing into the document part, and use the word prediction, spell checking, and the voice notes. So the next thing you can do, I mean, you can do that, create a word bank by starting off with a clicker board, but there's other things that are set up just to make it a little bit easier for you, because there's a whole lot of ready-made grids available within learninggrids.com. So if I go back to the beginning here, back to the Explorer, which is kind of the opening page of Clicker 7 software, I'm just going to go to Learning Grids here. Okay, and I'm going to look for a sentence set here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be writing, we're going to be doing an activity. You can see you've got all the different options. I'm looking for a sentence set, so let's get rid of these ones there. I'm going to go into design and technology, because what I'm really wanting to do is somebody's birthday in the class, and we're going to be doing an activity about making a birthday cake. So you can see I've got one, there's one ready made there. So yes, you could make up your own, it's pretty easy to do, but why not just use one that's already there? So I'm going to click on Run Now, and this will open now within Clicker here. So the document part from my last bit of work still stays there, and then I have the option of just creating a new document here. So again, I can click the sentence set out the way and just use it as almost like a Word document, or I can bring it up, and like everything else, I've got the support here.
Sugar, bowl,
and listening to it.
eggs.
And this time is slightly different. You see it's been set up with this little eye here. So that is a pop-up of the modelled sentence. So if I click on that, that's giving me my first instruction of how to bake a cake. And I can listen to it by clicking on it.
Stir butter, eggs, sugar and flour in a bowl.
But I can't actually make the sentence, and clicking on, you can see I've got that sort of the red circle with the line through it. That means I can't click on anything here until I click off this red cross here. So it's almost like you've got to look at it, remember it, click it off, and then you would be hoping that you could then make the sentence by clicking on the words here. Obviously the one stir's got a capital letter, kind of gives it away. Behind the scenes, okay, so you've downloaded this, or you're running it from learninggrids.com, but you have a lot of options, because you can go behind the scenes and change it and edit it any way you want there. So I'm down in the bottom left here, so I'm going to edit this pre-made clicker set here. And as we discussed before, if I didn't want to have there's maybe too many single words there, I'm going to go into the top sentence bar here and put square brackets round butter, eggs, sugar and flour, and make that our ingredients all appear in one cell. You see it does it straight away down in the bottom there, so that is all going to appear in one cell down here at the bottom. And this, picture, I've got options here. I can actually look for another picture. So let's see if I've got another picture here. I'm looking at my whole desktop here, and actually have a nice picture of a birthday cake. So I'm going to put that in. Anything you can personalize, it just makes it so much more appealing to use. So again, especially if it's something that appeals to the child, it's much more motivating if you can personalize it. So there was me just taking a photo from my desktop and adding that in. So you can now see, because I put the square brackets round, you've now got all the words appearing in the one cell. So just to show you that very easy to make up a sentence set, but also very easy to find one that's already made and to do some editing yourself. Now the only other feature I want to show you in this is just the very, very early stages of writing. So I'm going back down to edit the clicker set. And if I had somebody who was struggling with writing, but I really wanted to give them this measure of success by being able to create a sentence, the very easiest settings I could do here would be, I would model the sentence on the grid, and that's it, staying on the grid. It won't pop away. I don't have to do anything else. I can constantly look at it. And I'm going to put it in this one, the word order, in guided order. So if I click on there and go to up to here to run, you'll see what that looks like there. So you can now see I've got my sentence here modeled, and I can't click on anything else apart from the one that appears with the white background. So as I click on that, it then highlights the next thing. So either with or without listening, I can just click along. And it's guiding me through the sentence, and I can also see it's exactly the same words that are in the modelled sentence.
Stir butter, eggs, sugar and flour in a bowl.
Okay, so there's somebody who, who, if they found it very difficult to write at all, has created a sentence, and somewhat independently, yes, with support. I mean, this scaffolds the sentence structure by only allowing the words to be selected in the correct order, and it's a really useful thing. And then you would go on to the next sentence. You can see here the arrow here. That would take us through to the different steps of making the cake. So the document part stays the same, but I would go through to the different steps here. And if I was working with somebody who was working at this very early stage, then I would go back, edit the clicker set so that all the sentences appeared modelled on the grid and in guided order. So there's options there. Once you've created the document, then you would think, well, I actually want to save it, want to keep it for assessment. So you would just be going up to, I'm here in the document tab here. So I'm going to click on the old-fashioned floppy disk icon and drop down there, and I can save my document. So my choices for saving the document, you can see here. I can save it either as a clicker document, which I could then work on back in Clicker, or I could save it as a docx or a PDF there. And you can see I can either save it back into the shared files or save it anywhere that I want to. So you've got your options there. As I said, they're separate things. That's the saving the document. If I want to save this clicker set that I have created or downloaded and then edited, I would click on the clicker set tab here at the top, and then I'm going to again to the same bit, save, and then save clicker set as, and then I would more likely save it back to shared files where we can access it again and reuse it. So that's your two save options there, one for the document and one for the clicker set. Okay, you can see at the bottom here I've got some other tabs open down at the bottom, and they're different things. If we go back to Explorer, just want to quickly show you your different options for creating. We've talked about, I did the clicker board, which was this one here, the mind map, and then the making the birthday cake was this one up here, a sentence set. But you have got lots of different options here in your Connect set, word banks, clicker books, talk set, matching set, and custom set. And in one of the links that I have on the front page there will give you all the information on what they're all about. Obviously in this very short webinar we can't cover them all there. But the one I'm going to quickly show you now is the word bank, because that's a really supportive thing for someone who's struggling to get going with writing. So what I've actually done, we've got one down here which is a word bank. Close this down, cancel, and close down here. And I've got, this is all about the water cycle. So this is a word bank that I'm just emphasizing the fact these are big words, but I can just right click.
Environment. Circulates constantly.
And just to show you the different levels of support that can be offered, because yes, this is a word bank that could be very useful for someone. Someone else might not require anything at all, but somebody else might be actually using the word bank but not remembering the different stages. So the one beside it there is what we call a connect set. So using the same tabs that we've got open there, I've now got a way of putting together, providing more structure for them in terms of them making the sentence. So if I just click, work out what I'm actually going to say here. Okay, let's go and put it off here. So the process is, I'm going to listen to it.
Called the water cycle.
That's the one I want.
The process is called the water cycle.
Okay, so you can be making up lots of different sentences there. Again, the same for all. So this is an extra level of support, and that's the really good thing about Clicker. There's so many different levels of support that you can have in there. And in terms of creating your own word bank, it's just so simple to do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to the quick start here just to show you how you would create your own word bank there. So I'm going to go back down to here, which would be make a clicker set, choose the option which is word bank. And so this opens up here. So what I really have to do at this point, I have to put in all the words that I want to have in a word bank. So I've actually, first of all, I'm going to have to cancel that because I do realize I have to go back and find the words that I want. Now you may, it's as simple as opening up a web page and copying words. You may have been doing words on something to do with the water cycle. Just copy all the words there. And I've actually done that. I've put it into a Word document. So here we've got all our text about the water cycle here. So I'm just going to do Control A to copy all the text, to highlight all the text, Control C to copy all the text. I'm going back here and then do that just stage again. So I'm creating a word bank. So down to Explorer and my quick start, make a clicker set, which is our word bank here. This is the box that opens up. So I've now got this box, which I'm now going to just paste in all the text that was there, which had from the Word document. Paste it all in. I seem to have lost that. Oh, no, there it is, just a bit slow. So I've got the text here. This was all the text there, and it's actually going to filter out the most common words, which is great. But the bit up here, sort the words into, and at this point, I'm going to change that to alphabetic grids because that's what I want there. So pasted in the text, changed it to alphabetic grids, and create. So you can now see I've got from all that text that now appears really nicely as alphabetical word bank that I can
Climate condensation continues
and listen to. That's how easy it is to create your own word bank there. The other option for the word bank, apart from being alphabetical, would be to have it in topics, as this the one for the water cycle was. Is it having the different topics there with the words underneath? So I'm going to have to just to leave it there, just in terms of creating that, just in terms of time. But just some of the sort of practicalities. Sometimes the best solution for a pupil can be the one they choose not to use for a variety of reasons. You know, they may not want to look different about using technology. They might not really understand how it's helping them, why it's helping them. Or there might be something about it, and sometimes it's something really small that they just don't like, and they don't say what it is, but they just choose not to use it. And I can give a good example of this, and it was a boy called Johannes, and he didn't like the way that the voice pronounced his name, so much so that he refused to use this brilliant piece of software, which would have been really helpful for him. So just to say that there are things, there's quite a few things you can personalize within Clicker. I'm just going to show an example of how I could actually have changed that whole scenario had the teacher known about that this was possible to do. So, okay, so if I want to add something here, just in terms of the pronunciation, I'm going to go to Options, and I'm going to this one here, which is Word Pool, and I'm going to add in his name. And then add it, that adds it to my list. And it's showing you here, if I try to click
Johannes.
Yeah, it definitely was not Johannes. And the pronunciation that, the way, if I actually found out phonetically how to, if I put in Johannes and tried that.
Johannes.
That was much better. He was very happy with that. So now,
my name is Johannes.
okay, so that just was the key thing there. So it's just simply a matter of being able to do that personalization made all the difference there. And in the same way, if somebody can give up if their spelling is so far off that Spellcheck doesn't pick it up, that's something else that you can try and do here. And it's often just a number of keywords they continually spell wrong. So you would just go to their options into Word Pool as well, add in the word, and then the common misspellings of the word. And one of the ones that this is probably my favourite misspelt word I've ever come across was computer. And this one boy I worked with would always spell it this way, which was great. Really, it was so obvious what he was trying to say, but it just would never be picked up in a spell checker there. Kimpyooter. So if I put that down there now, and then the good thing is that should appear when I'm writing, when I'm in the document, that should appear even in the predictor as well. So if I was right, the only reason that wouldn't probably not be picking it up is probably because I need to have it restarted. I've put it into the word pool, so it should pick it up that was the incorrect spelling. Let me just, if I try that in the spell check there.
I like using the computer.
And
computer.
So it's picked it up in the spell check. It didn't pick it up in the predictor, but you can see there.
Computer.
That's exactly the word I wanted to spell.
I like using the computer.
So all these personalizations can make things really easy. And the other one that's very popular is just quickly, if I switch off here, is putting in having instant pictures appear. A lot of learners really find it supportive if they are using pictures or symbols. So again, it would just become under the option tabs and preferences, going into pictures here. And I'm going to click on here, instant pictures. I want them to appear in the document, in the spell checker, and in the predictor. So now when I'm writing my sentences here,
the elephant is big.
okay, seem to have a change of voice there. I've got my red squiggly lines, but I click on my spell check. So not only can I listen to it,
elegant, elephant,
clearly got the picture that that's the one I wanted to do there. And the same way, if I put on the predictor here, okay, I'm trying to spell giraffe. I'm not very good at spelling, but you can see it picked up in the predictor there with the giraffe picture there. So now I'm very conscious of the time. We're already gone half an hour there, and I'm getting carried away showing you all the different personalizations. And there's like, oh, and there's one more thing you're doing. One more thing. There's so many good key features there. But maybe we could go back and see if we've got any questions just now.
Okay, so this is a chance to ask Shirley any questions. And of course we didn't do, because obviously there wasn't time to do things like access, mouse dwell, switch access, eye gaze, all these other great things. But I'd just like to ask you a question. When you went to Learning Grids, is that free? Do you have to register for it or anything? Or
it's free. You would have to be online. If you're clicking through from the software, you would be online there. But it's absolutely free to use. So it's a great thing that you can sign up for. I think you just perhaps have to just put in your email address once and then you're registered with them.
So we're being asked, is Clicker on the App Store? So that might be worth explaining the difference between Clicker and the Clicker apps then.
Yep, and if we go back to share my screen again, I've got this.
Okay.
Or maybe we'll just talk through it.
I can do that. Oh, so it would have to be you, Shirley. Sorry, doing it.
Right.
Shirley's just going to share her screen.
Just to give you the full information on there, because we've got the Clicker site there. So there are apps. So the Clicker 7 software is your complete software, and then you would be then buying, if you were on an iPad, you've got Clicker apps. So it's in different apps. You've got your Clicker Sentences, Clicker Connect. So Clicker Connect using symbol sticks, Clicker Docs. So it's like all the different elements of the Clicker 7 software are bought as individual apps, and I believe they're $29.99 each for the individual apps. And you would also have apps that can be installed on a Chromebook. So again, split up into the different, so say Clicker 7's, you've got everything in the one place, but the apps are sort of cut down versions of the different elements of Clicker there.
Okay, great, thank you. We'll just go back to the chat and see. Okay, any other questions for Shirley? feel free just to pop them into the, type them into the box below.
See, we do have another online learning opportunity coming up on the 28th of March. I'm going to be running an online learning workshop here, which is actually 90 minutes, which should give me a lot more time to get through a lot of the good features here. So that one's also going to cover Docs Plus. So we've got learners that have been using Clicker 7 in primary school, then moving up to high school, perhaps feeling like they're too old to be using Clicker 7, but it's still good. They really need the features that are in it. So Docs Plus is sort of a kind of high school version of Clicker 7, and it's been really popular with its different features, obviously offering your word prediction, your spell checking, your word banks, and it's